everything that I've ever wanted. You are every dream, every fairy tale. Now all I wanna do is play with you, play with you. You are the one got me feeling this way. So please tell me that you do. Tell me that you feel. 'Cause my whole world wants to stop every time I think about you. So I'm declaring that with every beat of my heart, I'm so sincerely yours. Boy, I knew right away from the start that I was your woman. Heaven, never knew it could come in a person.
Hello, welcome to Conversations with MM. This is Marivir Montebon for another episode. And what you heard a while ago, ladies and gentlemen, is a wonderful voice of jazz singer Miss Sharon Rae North. So honored that she took time to really be with us and to discuss her music and to share with us her journey, her talent. So I'd like to welcome Miss Sharon Rae North. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to have you in this small podcast of mine.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, your voice is amazing, and I really love the this music. It's been top billed in the Billboard, right, last year.
Right, that song was, yeah.
Yeah. So who created it, and tell me how it rose to great popularity.
Well, my producer, he
Mm-hmm.
actually it was his music and he wanted lyrics written to it. I picked the song to put it on my EP called Sincerely Yours, named after the song.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy named Fred, he wrote the lyric for that one,
Mm-hmm.
and I sang it for the project.
Do you remember the year?
Oh, we did that song, I want to say in early 2016, maybe, because that EP came out in, I believe, 2016.
I see.
Because there's
So.
been an album since then.
Mm-hmm. And then you are a performer. You do front acts, and you're a featured artist as well. The latest one was with a Tin Pan with Paul Brown,
Right. Hmm.
right? And so is there so much competition in the jazz world? I'm not very familiar with it. So how do you get all these gigs with a let's say the icons? You're an icon yourself, so how do you navigate this industry?
Well, I don't know if I would so much refer to it as competition,
Uh-huh.
because we're all artists and we're all pursuing our artistic endeavors and the things that we like to do creatively.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is enough space for everyone.
Oh,
Not everyone gets into the space though, but
right.
there can be opportunities for you, a lot of opportunities, but sometimes someone else gets it, maybe someone more popular or someone with more records or someone getting more radio airplay. There's space for everyone, but you're not always in that space at that time.
I
So
see.
I think everybody has a time though. Sometimes it's someone else's time, sometimes it's your time.
I
Uh,
see.
but to get in with people like Paul is huge.
Great.
And he did produce 2 songs on my current album, Silhouette. And
Mm-hmm.
we were introduced by a saxophone player named Darren Ron.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing some shows together and he introduced us. And a couple of years later, we ended up working together on Silhouette. And then he reached out a few months ago
Mm-hmm.
and said he was doing Tin Pan and would I sing on his show? And I said, yeah. And now next month, in February, we have 4 more shows coming up at Blues Alley in Washington, D.C.
That's
So,
lovely. Do
mhm.
you have a manager or an agent that books you, or you do
Um,
it yourself?
for a lot of years, I did it myself. Now, Fritz Germain helps me with
Hmm.
some of it, but yeah, a lot of it is me.
That's cool.
Hmm.
So, in fact, of course, Fritz was the one who introduced me to you, and
Hmm.
it's good that you honored, and I'm so honored by your coming to the show. And tell me about you. I understand that you were from the media. You were working as a journalist. So, how does that? And now you're not. So, what's the experience with media, and why did you not continue or sustain it?
I worked in media for quite a few years. I
Mm-hmm.
started in print, then I went to radio, and then television for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And then I decided, someone asked me, "Did you just wake up one day and decide to become a singer?" I says, "No. I woke up one day and decided to let the singer become. The singer was always there, and I always knew it. But it was
Really?
just a matter of really actively pursuing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing that, and I still worked, but just focused a lot more time and energy into what I was born to be, which
Oh, that's
is a singer. I'm not singing isn't just something that I do. A singer is what I am,
mm-hmm.
and I've known that since I was a very little girl,
Oh
you
my
know.
goodness.
Hmm.
So, with you working with the media, could you describe how it was? Like you were reporting, you were on the ground, right?
Yeah, I was
So you were gathering information,
mhm,
news information.
I was a reporter in the field,
What was your beat?
general assignment
Uh huh.
most of the time. At one station I was at in Florida, I
Oh.
was the morning anchor, and then I would go out and do police and crime.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my beat. But most of the time I was general assignment, which is good for me. I liked doing, if I had a beat, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to be health and medical.
I see.
So I did do in Michigan, I did quite a bit of health and medical reporting, but I also did general assignment.
What was that fulfilling for you? For at some point, did you also imagine yourself being, a journalist?
I never did.
So how come you got into it?
So was working in radio,
Mm-hmm.
and a TV station called and offered me a job.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it, but I never I never really had that aspiration, I want to be a reporter. I know
Mm-hmm.
people who are like that. They want to be journalists, they want to be reporters. I know a lot of people like that. But it was never really a goal for me.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened.
So what was the break that you went into music? You became the singer that you always have wanted to be.
Well, I was always the singer, but I didn't always sing professionally.
Mm-hmm.
So once I decided to do it professionally, like I dabble with it here and there and do a little something in the studio, but
Mm-hmm.
at one point I decided to just try it and go for it professionally.
So did you choose jazz already when you went into professional singing?
I did. That's kind of my first genre, is in not even smooth or contemporary jazz vocals. Mine was more jazz standards, the
Mm-hmm.
straight ahead and jazz standards. That's what I grew up listening to, and that's the genre that my voice lends itself to so beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
It just fits right in there.
Mm-hmm.
I do other genres as well, but and actually that's kind of my favorite, is
Okay.
the jazz standards.
Cool, cool. And so do you also do you compose? Do you create melody and all that in
I
the realm?
do. I write lyrics and melodies, and then my producers will arrange the music around those melodies and stuff. So yeah, I do.
I asked this question to Christian de Misones, and I will ask you as well. Like, what drives you to write music, compose a song? Do you have a certain deadline like we journalists have, or you just because of
Mm-mm.
it happens because there's an inspiration?
Most of the time, it's just very organic.
Mm,
For me, sometimes you're writing about people or situations or things that are going on in your life.
mm-hmm,
And sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'm just writing about whatever I'm writing about, or a melody may come into my head.
mm-hmm,
And like my song, We Should Be in Love,
mm-hmm.
people tend to think that that's some beautiful love story and stuff, but it's not.
What was it about? Or
Yeah,
what was the motivation?
the word silhouette came in my head and it was just there. I had no reason for it. And
Really?
then the word stars came into my head, a few days later. Only stars had a little bit of a melody to it. It was like stars. And I thought, okay, I got silhouette, I got stars. Let's marry those two words into a song.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote We Should Be in Love, silhouette. And
Amazing, right?
yeah.
So you created that inside your house, or were you in an open space, or what?
Well, just writing it. I mean, I can write just about anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But when the production part came, I went to a studio in Richmond, Virginia to do the vocals. And my producer, the guy who produced that, Chris Big Dog Davis, he was in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
So he produced it up there. We sent him, he actually arranges like a scratch of the
Mm-hmm.
song. It's just the rough of the music. And then I go in the studio and I sing to that. And then we send him all of the audio tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And then he puts them together with the real music. So it's a process.
So how long does it take to do that?
It just depends. He works pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
So he can usually have me something almost in a few hours. It's
Really?
usually something in that same day he'll send me to listen
Question.
to it.
Mm-hmm. In the process of creating music and distributing it, which is more difficult, the production or the marketing of it?
The marketing is more difficult because you never know whether it's going to be successful. No matter what
Mm-hmm.
your efforts are, you
Right.
never know what's going to happen. Or did you market it to the right place?
Mm-hmm.
So is it in the right space to get airplay? And I also have like radio promoters
Mm-hmm.
who work to get it on the air. So
I see. So that you have the experts to do that for you.
hmm
Correct. So I have seen that you have been nominated, for example, with the Indie Soul Music Awards, and
hmm
you've been a finalist at the WAMI Awards in DC, Virginia, and Maryland. How does one get to that level of being noticed, being heard?
Wow. For me, it's the
Hmm.
radio promoters. They get your music out there. And,
I see.
with social media, the way it is now, you can
Right.
reach out. You see somebody who's a radio host on a show, and you can reach out and say, hey, I got this song. I want you to check it out.
Hmm.
And a lot of times they'll go ahead and play it. It happens a lot.
So it's a matter of relationship with the radio people most
Pretty
of the
much.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Yeah.
And so
hmm
when you've been played again and again and again, that's when you get nominated because you have reached a certain level on the charts, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah.
Hmm. So does it take a lot of funding, a lot of finance to do that?
It does.
It does.
It
And so
does. Yeah.
do you self finance or do you have
I
some
do.
sponsors? Oh, you do.
hmm And
Wow.
I might do crowdfunding, a
Oh,
GoFundMe or something as well. But yeah, it's mostly my money going into it.
and does it come back to you? Is there a return of investment?
Yeah, you get a lot of it back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not always, but yeah, you do.
Don't you like, I don't know how it is right now, but you as an artist, do you go into like recording companies, or is it now everybody's doing their own thing because of social media?
I think it's a combination
Mm-hmm.
of both. Some people do it all on their own. Some people, rely on other means. It's a combination.
I see. So for you, you're combining it.
Mm-hmm.
Great, great. So tell me about your upcoming gigs, Sharon, for this year. What do we hope to see coming
Um,
from your end?
well, Paul and I have Blues Alley coming up, and I will be going back to the West Coast.
Mm.
Um, there's a big project that I'm working on now that I can't really talk about it just yet, but
Uh-huh.
it's
Surprise.
it's big, and it's going to anchor me for a little while.
Oh,
Where I'll I'll be I won't be home, but I'll be somewhere working on this project.
I see. So that's within the year.
Yeah, it's coming up soon.
How amazing. And so oh, I wish you could tell us about it.
I
But
wish I could too.
oh my goodness. So how about your work right now? How do you juggle? How do you balance life with your music or your work and family?
I don't.
You cannot,
I
or
just
you don't.
let it balance itself. Because for me to try to interfere with the momentum
Mm-hmm.
of what is happening would just probably be disastrous.
Oh,
So I don't micromanage it all. I just kind of let it be what it is.
mm-hmm. So, like, how much energy do you have in a day to, do your day job at the government and then do your music? How's that? Can you?
Um, I make it happen. I mean, no matter who you are,
Mhm.
we all get only 24 hours. Nobody gets 25.
Correct.
So I have to do what I need to do in
Mm-hmm.
each 24 hours. Sometimes I kind of plan ahead and say, well, I know I'm going to do this, so I need to do that, to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I can do this. But, if you want something badly enough, you have to, it's not just about having the desire to do it, because the
Mm-hmm.
desire is nothing if you don't have the discipline
Correct.
to do it. And I just have to hunker down and be very disciplined with a lot of things that I'm doing, because
Right.
there's always a lot on my plate. A lot.
How about family? How do you do your responsibility to family?
Well, I don't have kids, and I'm single.
Oh,
M-
cool.
Yeah, my mother lives with me.
Mm-hmm.
She's lived with me for about
So
20
she's your
years.
family.
Yeah, and she just turned 86 years old.
Wow.
You know, s-
Congratulations. That's a milestone.
yeah. So, and my sister lives about 2 hours and 45 minutes away. My nephew lives an hour away. My niece is in Philly, so she's about 3 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it really. We were all together at Tin Pan for the show with Paul Brown. And
Oh, you got that family support.
yeah, I've always
Oh.
had great family support with
Mm-hmm.
my projects and with my singing and stuff. So that
Amazing.
helps a lot. Like at the end of that show, my niece was with me at the merch table. And I'm so glad, because she was selling CDs like crazy.
She was your marketing person
She
for the
was
CD.
there. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. Awesome. I've read that you wrote a children's book.
I did. Hmm.
Oh my gosh. So tell us about that. That's interesting. And I
That
just
book,
know that you don't have kids.
well, that book has been out, oh, wow, since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been out a long time.
It's been there a while ago.
Yeah, and it's called My Brand New Leg. And it's
Mm-hmm.
about a little girl who wears a prosthesis.
Mm-hmm.
And another little girl who's wondering, well, what all can you do with this, prosthetic leg? And
Mm-hmm.
she's showing her that she can do all the same things all the other kids can do. And it's a rhyming book, kind of like a little Dr. Seuss book.
Wow.
So, mhm.
That's an inspiring book for children and parents. Where did you, how did you develop that story, the concept of it?
Well, my dad,
Mm.
in the last year of his life, he's been gone since November of 2000. And in that last year,
Mm-hmm.
his diabetes complications resulted in him having both of his legs amputated.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And there was a little girl one day at the hospital
Mm-hmm.
where he was in the hospital, and she and her grandmother were walking by. And her grandmother happened to look in and recognize my mom. She knew her. So she came in and was talking to her, and the little girl came in with her. And she was just looking. My dad had one leg amputated at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept looking at this stump of his leg. And I knew she wanted to say something, but we teach kids, don't ask, don't stare, don't, just
Yeah.
do nothing.
Yeah.
And that's really not necessarily the way to handle it. And most
Mm-hmm.
people who would have an amputation or whatever, maybe they're blind or some type of disability, they don't mind talking about it. They don't want to be teased or laughed at, but they don't mind talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she finally broke down and asked my dad, what happened to your leg?
Uh-huh.
And he told her, he said he
Uh-huh.
got sick and the doctor had to, remove it. And they just talked. She was, so interested in that.
Wow.
And that conversation is
Uh-huh.
what the book is based on, only it's two little girls instead of a
Of your
grown
dad.
man and a little girl. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So were you listening to them talking?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's why. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. So that's a very interesting output of your life. I mean, of, as a writer, and amazing. You mentioned your mom there too. So that's why it caught my attention that you wrote it. So all the best. I also would like to go and see a copy of it.
Okay. And
Yeah,
there's another book too.
there is. What is it?
That one's called Frantastically Francis, The Sayings and Snarks of My Mama, the Senior. And
Oh.
that's just a lot of things that my mother has said and sage wisdom she's imparted and
Mhm.
conversations, we've had. So
So
there's a couple books.
like snippets of your fun and in-depth conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a lot of reading from you. I didn't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
So I
That
would.
one's only been out a year.
Mhm. Oh, I'll check that out too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's check that out, ladies and gentlemen. And so for this year, what do you, to wrap up, Sharon? What do you hope to achieve this year?
I hope that
And how do
this,
you inspire us to, or the singers like you to achieve their dreams as well?
um, you just kind of have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to really do it for you. You have to just make it up in your mind that you're going to do this or you're going to do something, and then you do it. I mean, and you might not be able to do it overnight. It might take months. It might take a few years even, but you cannot finish what you don't start.
Right,
So
of course.
you have to start someplace. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not easy sometimes to start. Sometimes we don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
But, you have to try to figure it out. Like this project I'm working on now,
Mm-hmm.
um, at one point my business partner said, well, what about, this thing that you're going to be working on? And I said, I'm formulating it in my head. I says, it's going to happen, but I'm kind of laying the groundwork for it, thinking how I might be able to
Mm-hmm.
make it work.
Oh,
So I think it's going to work. And I'm so excited about it.
this is the one in California?
No, 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 no. This something that's going to be happening over on this side of the country.
All right. So looking
Mhm.
forward to that. Surprise us. Thank you so much, Sharon, for your time. It's been really wonderful, and I hope to see you in person and hear you sing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I love your voice, and
Thank
so
you.
that's why, like, I asked Fritz if I could interview you. Wonderful. And so thank you, Fritz, for this. And ladies and gentlemen, that has been Miss Sharon Rae North. And another wonderful episode has just ended. Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye for now, Sharon.
Bye.
Thank you. I know you're so
Thank
tired.
you.
Bye.
Imagining you on the shore, stars light you in silhouette. Your tide is rising, rushing deep in me, making me so wet. And all I want is to hold you, feel you next to me, next to me. Tell you you're all I want, you're everything I need. We should be in love, counting the hours till I see the pleasures night will bring. The wine and candles and the slow dance, how your romance me. And all I want is to kiss you, feel your lips on mine. You are my fantasy, my dream of love divine. We should be in love. We were in love, every day would feel like spring, and every night the heat of summer love making. If we were in love, all my dreams would become real. You would have all of me, you know just how I feel. How I feel. When we're together on the shore, stars light us in silhouette. We're making love beneath the moon, stars light us in silhouette. We should be in love. We should be in love. We should be in love. We should be in love.